Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video here, we'll be looking at the JAVID changes. So JAVID recently got a buff, and then the buff here, I did tested him at the live stream, actually makes him very good. So I'm not sure if he can actually become the meta now, but the kit itself, it seems very solid, and I think there's actually a very good chance for him to actually shine in the battle, right? Because previously when JAVID released until now, the usage of JAVID is actually pretty niche, but for now with the buff changes, it's actually very good and actually able to synergize with a lot of the Esper. So now let's take a look here. So for those who are wondering about the JAVID kit, so this is a JAVID original model. Alright, so if we look at the skin, we can see that the in terms of profile picture, they're actually exactly the same, just that they added the hairband here. So in terms of avatar, it's little disappointing in my opinion, because that it doesn't seem too much of a changes. But if terms of model is actually okay. Alright, so you can see the sword here changed into a surfboard. Right, turned into a surfboard, and then outfit, everything have been changed. The pants here, there's one hole for the tails to come out. Alright, then the hair is tied up, and it's also able to like interact with the hair. Alright, so this is the JAVID summer skin. So for those who want to get the JAVID summer skin, you can get it through the summer event, totally for free. Just there's a few ways to actually get it. Because there's some restock. I'll make it another video for it, from what you need to know about the summer skin obtain method. But for now, yeah, JAVID got a buff. So in terms of Divinate, no changes for the Divinate. Then the S1 here, no changes as well. But basically you can understand is the Judgment Seal here. Originally the skilling is 50% if not mistaken, but now they increase it up to 200%. So they basically make the Judgment Seal true damage able to go higher. But that's not the biggest changes. The biggest changes is at S2 and S3. So the S2 here, everything here is still the same, but now the true damage here is 10% of the target max HP and capped at 200%. So originally, if not mistaken, it's 100%. So they double the amount. Then the other one is the passive. So this passive here is what makes JAVID so strong currently. It's because whenever an enemy takes true damage, okay, this true damage here is actually pretty tricky. So there's a lot of different kind of interaction with JAVID currently. I'm not sure this is a test server bug or what. I will try to report to them. But from what we tested yesterday at the live stream, there's actually different kind of interaction with this true damage. So like some true damage doesn't trigger this true damage here, but some not true damage actually trigger this true damage. So I'm not sure if it's a bug. Later at the end of the video, I'll be showing some interaction as well, so you can probably have an idea what am I talking about. Or if you want me to try out what kind of interaction with true JAVID, you can also comment down. So every time an enemy takes true damage, for example, the easiest to understand is Suje. So Suje passive can do true damage. So this one here will trigger JAVID, increase 5% attack and up to 200%. So this 5% attack here did not mention his base attack, which means this 200% is an overall attack buff. So you can consider this as the Suicide R6 passive. So if we look at Suicide R6, right? Suicide R6 is whenever he get a buff or debuff, then he will get 20% of attack and defense up to 200%. So if we ignore the defense part, so basically the JAVID passive is something like Suicide, but it will stack up longer, and the trigger method is true damage. Alright, so 200% here is actually pretty high. So 5% attack means you need to trigger this true damage 40 times, which is not too easy and not too hard. So why not too hard is because then let's say you have Suje in your team. To be honest, you only need how many AoE? You only need 40 AoE damage to actually trigger this thing to max. So it's not going to be that easy to trigger because it requires a certain amount, but it will slowly stack up. Probably we can debate like increase the stack to 10% instead of 5, but for now it's 5%. Then also gain 10% AP push. This effect can only trigger once per turn per target. So if there's 5 enemy, then when you trigger this AoE damage, you trigger 5 true damage, then you're gonna get 25% attack boost and 10% 50% AP push, because every target can trigger one time per turn, right? So 5% and 10%. If it's 5 targets, so 25% attack and 50% AP. So this is how the true damage, the passive work is very strong. The true damage, passive here itself will actually boost JAVID's attack very high and also keep AP pushing JAVID. Then the other one is the S3. So the S3 here, the changes will be the attack multiplier and also the Scarlet Flame. So Scarlet Flame here, you dispel all the DOT debuff. Only the DOT debuff like bleed and poison from JAVID. Then if you the more DOT you remove, then the more extra damage you can able to do. So this part here doesn't seem too good, but the moment you reach R6, then that's where he becomes strong. So for those players who have been playing DISLYTE for quite some time, probably you already have JAVID R6, or probably you get JAVID from the loyalty box, then probably you have him in R6, right? So we look at the result here. R1 increase your S3 final damage, R2 increase the splash damage, R4 they move the previous R6 effect to R4. Originally is when you heal when you kill an enemy. So now they move the previous R6 to R4. So now Scarlet Flame now grants immunity to stun, sleep, and petrification. So you won't get stun, you won't get sleep, you won't get stun, but you will still get freeze and you will still get taunt. Okay, and now dispel all debuff instead of just DOT effect. Okay, so when the moment you reach R4, you no longer just dispel DOT, you dispel all debuff, including attack down, speed down, all those kind of debuff that you can actually dispel. Okay, then so basically, so let's say JAVID have attack down, speed down, and defense down, then there's 3 debuff. Then basically your damage here will increase by 30%. So in order for you to hit 200%, it's almost impossible because you can't dispel 20. You cannot have a 20 debuff on JAVID unless it's actually accumulate through the whole battle. Then the major changes is actually at the R6. So at the start of the combat, you instantly gain Scarlet Flame for 2 turns. Okay, but another new effect. Scarlet Flame here now can absorb for 400% attack. So it's kind of like a shield, but it's not a shield buff icon, so it won't trigger Artiar. I tested it at a test server in PvP. This JAVID shield, this Scarlet Flame, is not a shield. You can consider that as a Sakura Vigo guard thing, or the other Esper that they don't consider as a shield. So Scarlet Flame here is not a shield, just that the Scarlet Flame itself is able to help JAVID block 400% amount of damage equals to JAVID. So if JAVID attack is higher, the thicker the shield is. And most importantly is, it will reset the cooldown of Eternal Light, which is your S3, and gain 1 turn when this effect ends. So this effect ends here, at least at test server, it will also including the shield break, because the shield break equals to the effect ends. And because the effect ends, you instantly get a bonus turn and you instantly reset your S3, then you can recast your S3 again. So this is what makes JAVID actually so strong. So let me show you some interaction in game to let you have a better understanding how his changes is. So now I just want to show you the JAVID R6, the shield. So if I put JAVID himself, at the start of the battle, I will instantly get 1 shield, and the shield doesn't have a shield icon, it won't trigger Artiar. So you can see this white color thing is my shield. So the moment my shield break, I will instantly CD reset my S3, I will instantly get a bonus turn. So the moment I recast my S3, I'm able to regain the Scarlet Flame and then also do damage to them with Judgment Seal and also Disease, all these things. So with Disease here, he might actually be good for proper turn. Alright, then if we cast S3, Judgment Seal to them, do damage, and then AoE nuke down, you will notice that JAVID actually trigger a lot of attribute up and also AP push. So he get his turn very fast before the other unit take action. So let's say I just S1 here, do damage. Because of the true damage, he get attribute up and also AP push. So you can see the AP push make him actually zoom a lot more faster. And because the more true damage it trigger, the more S3 you can reset. So now, because of the shield break already, I can recast my S3. So S3 again, regain a Scarlet Flame shield, do damage again, trigger more true damage, so I get more attribute up. So basically, you can make JAVID every turn trigger 5 times of true damage, so makes him able to increase 25% attack and 50% AP. So if you are able to keep spamming this method, 25% attack per round, you can actually stack up to 200% pretty fast. Okay, so now if I cast another S1, more attribute up, more AP push, then if they break my shield, you'll notice that my shield now is currently more thicker now because it takes more time to actually break the shield. So let's say S1, do some damage again, AP push and attribute up. Because the effect gone as well, because no longer have the shield, I can recast one S3 and apply Judgment Seal again. So with this itself, will actually make the Memory Wave, Calamity Tower, and Wave content actually very strong, because you can just keep spamming your S3 whenever the Scarlet Flame breaks. You see, the effect gone, because the shield break, I can recast the S3 and regain a shield, and this shield won't trigger army at all, so makes him very strong. You can see my HP didn't actually drop, only 6%. So the method to actually kill JAVID now is you have to actually break through the shield and do damage to him. For example, like Moriyama, or for example, damage that can actually ignore shield, or else the moment the shield break, he can regain the shield and cast the skill again. I can just keep spamming like this. Alright, so it's actually pretty good. The changes is very strong, but keep note this effect is at R6 because the game-changing residual effect is actually at R6. So in terms of true damage, if you look at the right screen currently, there's actually a list that thanks to this player here to actually help me compile what I tested on the live stream, because there's actually a different interaction of the true damage, which makes it pretty weird. I don't know if this is a bug or what, because there's actually different understanding for this mechanic. So for example, the first one, right, Suje is the most easy to understand one, because Suje is whenever your ally do damage to them, then Suje will help you apply a true damage to the damage, so you are able to trigger true damage. So let's see here. Funeral Rites, damage plus 5% per stack, and ally attack, then each stacks of the Funeral Rite will do additional true damage. So this true damage here will instantly trigger JAVID's buff to let him actually apply stuff. So let's take a look. So let's say Sakura, for example, I'm gonna use Sakura to cast an AoE damage to apply true damage to them, and the true damage here will instantly push JAVID AP push and also attribute up, because due to the passive here, it will interact with true damage. So if I make it slower, Sakura casts S3 AoE damage, then it will trigger Suje's true damage, and JAVID here will get AP push and also get attack boost as well. Okay, so this true damage from Suje's work, but there's one very interesting interaction is actually from Jinchu. Okay, so Jinchu one, I don't know if it's a bug. I'm pretty sure it's a bug, because so let's say Jinchu damage is a true damage as per, right? But the S3 true damage here did not trigger JAVID, but only the S1 here will trigger JAVID. I have no idea why. Why S3 doesn't trigger while S1 actually trigger. And the Convince debuff actually trigger as well. So Convince debuff is when the carrier attack, they will do true damage, and then true damage 4% of their max HP. Then because the max HP damage here is a true damage, so it will synergize with JAVID. But I'm not sure if this is actually a bug. Alright, so let's say Jinchu, I'm gonna cast S3. See? No interaction for JAVID, while S3 is actually a true damage. But if we actually cast S1 to do damage, alright, with S1, okay, let them take the action. You do notice, right? Just now, the S1 here, it did trigger. S1. This S1, it triggered. So this is actually pretty weird. Like, I have no idea what is actually true damage or what is actually not true damage. So, but I'm pretty sure the Jinchu S3 here is actually a bug, because why S1 trigger while S3 doesn't trigger, right? And there's a few things, for example, like Suizai. So Suizai here, this one. If the target is inflicted by Doom Grabs, every stack of Doom Grabs inflict additional true damage. So this part here will also count towards the JAVID buff. Alright, so let's Suizai to keep getting counter attack. Alright. Okay, so now the moment when I cast S3, I will trigger true damage on this 4 target because they have the Doom Grabs, and then it will trigger the JAVID interaction passive. Alright. it did get AP push, it did get the attribute up. So Suicide Rezo true damage will also work. So all these kind of true damage keyword will actually trigger JAVID, most of them. Alright, you can look at the list beside there. We have like Sujie, we have like Elif, we have Suicide, Jin Chiu, Momo, Jiangju Li. Jiangju Li is the also have true damage, extra true damage hit, but poison. So if poison is actually pretty interesting, like I have no idea why it will actually work, but it works. So probably it's because it's actually a HP percentage damage. So if you look at the poison, right, the character takes damage at the start of the turn, but it did not mention poison is actually true damage. So if we actually apply poison to them, you'll keep looking at JAVID, keep getting attribute up. So let's say S1, every time they take their turn, JAVID will get attribute up and also AP push. So poison is actually one of the best interaction for JAVID as well. Okay, no idea why it's not mentioned as true damage, but probably because it's a maximum HP percentage, so they considered that as a true damage. But bleed did not work. So bleed here is actually a damage based on your attack. So yeah, but bleed doesn't work. So if I do something like this, if I apply bleed to them, okay, I need to say my bleed here, and I use Osana to trigger the bleed. Even though it's a rate damage, it did not trigger anything. So the bleed here doesn't consider as a true damage. So another thing is like Yukini Blizzard Warning. Even though Yukini here is stated as true damage, but probably because Yukini is considered as an environment type of true damage, so it did not work. This one, even though here mentioned is a true damage, but probably because it's environment true damage, so it did not work for JAVID. Then, but tricky type works. So tricky, for example, is passive here. This one, enemy if an enemy causes their debuff and early, the current HP reduced by 30% is considered as a true damage, even though it's not mentioned as a true damage. So I think anything that is actually percentage based damage will consider into true damage. Okay, so let's take a look here. I need my tricky to apply the debuff first. So let me make them slower. Okay, then tricky will cast S3, apply debuff to them. Then this middle mob will actually cleanse it. So they take the action, they do damage, cleanse, and Gambit passive. It trigger the HP reduction damage here, and then also trigger JAVID's passive. Okay, then for example, like Gabriel, you can see the last list here, Gabriel and also Zihe here, they also have true damage. So why Gabriel actually have true damage is actually from the Rezo. So Gabriel R4 here, she can actually consume some part of your HP to convert into true damage. So this part here will also count. Alright, so if I take Gabriel, and then if I actually trigger true damage from my skill, it did trigger. Okay, let me give you a more clear example. Alright, so if I cast S3, there's no true damage, right? But based on my own R4 passive, I will consume part of a HP and trigger true damage. Then it will trigger JAVID. Alright, so if the keyword have true damage, most of the time it will work. But here's the list that I already tested, including Zihe as well. And here, there's additional interaction like Nora S3 final hit. The true damage there is also counts. Not Nora damage, right? Nora damage herself doesn't count as a true damage. Just that she have damage ignore doesn't make her as a true damage. But her S3 last hit is actually a true damage. So if we look at Nora here, every damage here is nothing, but the last hit deals extra true damage. So this part will count into JAVID interaction. And then for Intisa is the passive. Anna S1 doesn't count. This is a bit weird as well, because if you look at Anna here, Anna actually deals 2 damage. So one is raw damage, and then the other one deals extra true damage, and it's 20% of the enemy HP, but this one doesn't work, so it's a bit weird. And then the last one is actually Meta Ira. So Meta Ira one is good, might actually be a good synergize with JAVID as well, because Meta Ira passive from the S3 passive here, while Prima is active, attacks deal extra true damage, and this effect here, the true damage here, did trigger JAVID passive as well. So it's actually pretty hard to understand what actually works with JAVID or what doesn't work, or probably it's just a bug. Right, so if I AP push up, do JAVID some stuff. Alright, so if I trigger Meta Ira, Clara heal first. Meta Ira at Prima, if I cast S1, JAVID will get AP push and attribute up. See? Right, so I think I almost tried every single Esper that have true damage in the game, then this will be the least for reference. So I'm not sure about the Jinchu part for now, we're gonna test it. But for now, the kit itself looks very solid. I haven't tried him in PvP or PvE because this is test server. Probably when they go global, we might actually see some interesting interaction. So what do you guys think about the JAVID changes, and if there's actually anything you want me to try out, like true damage interaction or what kind of combination, like combo, you can feel free to comment down and let me know what kind of combination you want me to try. Overall, the buff itself, it looks very solid. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is Sky Elk, Trekcan, thank you so much for your support. And for the supporter or patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Wang Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwaltz, Rimu, Chani, Antonio Winterspoon, Rocco Stendions, thank you so much for your support. And also special thanks to the Super Tanks MVP, HMZ Rings, thank you so much for your support. Special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest tag. Thank you so much for Code Wardeners, Calamity, Agni, Love Fatima, Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Chani. Thank you so much for your support.